If we want to truly stop the hate against Asian Americans, we need to stop the three myths coming from the first month of the pandemic. Since year 2020, we have seen a surge of hate crimes against Asian Americans. From one study, there is a 150% increase of hate crimes against Asian Americans in major US cities. Even elderly Asian woman was violently attacked for no reason other than the fact that she is an Asian. The worst case happened on March 19, 2021, when a gunman killed 8 people in Atlanta. 6 of them were Asian women. I appreciate that politicians like the Atlanta mayor came out and condemned the attacks. This should at least making hate crime against Asian Americans not politically correct. This should put a cap on this problem and should be able to limit the extent of this problem. But as long as the underlying hatred is still there, I doubt that politicians saying some strong words will really prevent the problem from happening. We need to figure out where the hatred is coming from and find a way to resolve the hatred. Obviously, the hate crime has to do with the pandemic. In my opinion, the hatred is originated from the three myths in the first month of the pandemic. These three myths claim that the Chinese government caused the pandemic either intentionally or through badly handling of the situation. The logic is that if Chinese government caused the pandemic, all the Chinese-looking Asian people are guilty. This logic is wrong. Even if the Chinese government had actually caused the pandemic, no one should go around attacking all the Chinese-looking Asian people. Moreover, all three myths are false. Let me tell you what those three myths are and why they are all false. The first myth is about the origin of the virus. From the very beginning of the pandemic, there were already conspiracy theories flying around claiming that the virus was coming from the lab in Wuhan. One of the conspiracy theories is that the virus was a biological weapon developed in the Wuhan lab, and the Chinese government intentionally released the virus to the Chinese people. Yes, some people actually believe this. I met a white guy who wanted to tell me a secret about the pandemic. He told me that not only the virus was a biological weapon, but also Chinese government intentionally released the virus to the Chinese people. He explained the logic was that Chinese government has a better control on the Chinese people and can prevent the virus from spreading. On the other hand, the rest of the world don't have this kind of discipline and will be quickly hurt by the pandemic. This somehow gives China a so-called competitive advantage. Yes, that guy really believed in this conspiracy theory. I don't make this up. True story. Experts in this area has dispelled the biological weapon story very early on, but that didn't stop people from claiming that the virus was accidentally leaked from the Wuhan lab. Luckily, a team of WHO experts had visited Wuhan lab in February 2021 and had declared that this is extremely unlikely that the virus was coming from the Wuhan lab. I can say that this myth is busted. But this doesn't stop people in White House from continuing claiming that the virus was coming from the Wuhan lab. Seems like this myth will continue, regardless who is the US president. The second myth claims that Chinese CDC took too long to confirm human-to-human transmission. This implies that China was covering up the situation, and this was supposed to allow the virus to spread to far more people than should be. In order to tell if Chinese CDC took too long to confirm human-to-human transmission, we can first look at these days. On the last day of 2019, China reported the new virus to WHO. Also reported that contact tracing of close contacts of 27 cases had started. Later on, the number of cases being checked was increased to 121. On January 19, 2020, Dr. Chung confirmed that human-to-human transmission in India had happened. This was based on 2 cases in Guangdong who had never been in Wuhan, and they caught the virus from family member who came back from Wuhan. Based on these 2 days, we can tell China took 19 days to confirm human-to-human transmission. Was this too long? Let's look at other factors. The standard is 14 days of monitoring close contacts. If we base on this standard, we can say that China took 5 days longer than the standard to confirm human-to-human transmission. Back in 2009, WHO used data provided by US CDC to confirm that human-to-human transmission of H1N1 swine flu had happened in United States. This took 12 days. If we use this as a benchmark, we can say that China took 7 days longer than United States and WHO to confirm human-to-human transmission. In January 2020, US CDC took 10 days to confirm human-to-human transmission of the new virus in United States. If we use this as the benchmark, we can say that China took 9 days longer than United States to confirm human-to-human transmission. Based on the various benchmarks just mentioned, we can see that the number of days to get a confirmation can vary from 10 to 12 or even 14 days. This means there's not a fixed number of days. There are many factors affecting the chance of detecting a human-to-human transmission. For example, by the time US CDC confirmed human-to-human transmission on January 30, that was already 11 days after China had already confirmed human-to-human transmission. This means by that time, the alarm bell had already been ringing very loud. The first country that needed to confirm human-to-human transmission always had a higher burden of proof than the other countries. Moreover, the discovery of human-to-human transmission is depending on people reporting their saturation. As we know by now, many people who are infected don't even show any symptom. Many people who only have very mild symptoms, and they may have mistakenly assumed that they just have common cold and may not bother to report to the authority. The other factor is that the genetic sequence of coronavirus was only become known on January 11. That was 8 days before the confirmation of human-to-human transmission in China. Back then, there was very limited or no test kit available to detect coronavirus so early in the pandemic. The last factor is that old people tend to be worse off with COVID-19. This is different from H1N1 virus in 2009, when younger people tended to be worse off. Because younger people tend to be more mobile than older people, they tend to get infected sooner and more likely to show symptoms. This probably explains the reason why we could detect human-to-human transmission earlier in 2009. On the other hand, in China, a large number of younger people leave their old parents in their hometown and look for work in the city. The human-to-human transmission was only detected when the younger infected persons went back home from Wuhan city to Guangdong and infect their older family members. This delayed the discovery of cases of human-to-human transmission. I can say that the Chinese took 19 days to confirm human-to-human transmission was not unreasonable. More importantly, whether China delaying confirming human-to-human transmission or not doesn't really matter. Most of the infection happening in the United States were originated from Europe, not directly from China. This was caused by the fact that Trump didn't impose travel ban from Europe for more than 1 month after he had already imposed travel ban from China. He locked the side door, but he kept the front door wide open. Therefore, the number of days for China to confirm human-to-human transmission really had no impact on the pandemic situation in the United States. I can say that this myth is busted. The third myth has to do with Dr. Li Wenliang, the so-called whistleblower. The myth is that by silencing the doctor, China somehow make the situation worse. But we need to ask if silencing the doctor actually makes the situation worse. We need to look at what happened in Italy to get the answer. In March 2020, the virus was spreading in some areas in northern Italy. Italian government planned to lock down those areas in northern Italy, but the plan was leaked to the media. Predictably, thousands went panic and tried to escape from the areas that were going to be locked down. This made the situation worse. Italian government had to lock down the entire country instead of just the areas in northern Italy. If China had allowed everyone to spread the news about the virus before China was ready to deal with the situation, China would have got into the same situation as in Italy. This would have made the situation worse, because a large number of people would have left Wuhan and spread the virus to the rest of the China sooner. In turn, this would have spread the virus to the world much faster. More information doesn't necessarily mean better. Making information available to the people is only useful if the people know how to handle the information. This reminds me of what Jack Nicholson said in the movie. You want the truth? You can handle the truth. Moreover, Dr. Lin was not a whistleblower. He only informed 8 of his fans, and he asked them not to tell other people. I'm not saying that he was wrong in sharing the information with his fans. He was just doing something that many people would have done. I am saying that he was not a whistleblower. He was a good person who gave his life to serve his patients. The bottom line is that the myth of silencing Dr. Lin, making the situation worse, is busted. Unfortunately, this myth seems to continue even up to now. People still continue promoting the idea that Dr. Lin was a whistleblower and imply that silencing him had made the pandemic situation worse. Will the Biden administration abandon these three myths? I hope so, but this is difficult to be hopeful. As long as Biden administration believes that using these three myths to badmouth China is advantageous to United States geopolitical goal, he's not likely to stop promoting these three myths. We can count on Biden to say some helpful words to reduce the hate crimes against Asian Americans. I'm hoping that Biden will stop promoting these three myths. Stopping this myth is what it will take to remove the hatred instead of just sweeping the problem under the rug.